Doing all right these days, trying to fight the system. I'm working on a new book, Exposing the New World Order. I'm going to get it published.
Yeah.
And, I know it may seem silly, but I really think I can deliver a message that could get some people energized. I know it's reading and people, they don't read, but
some people do.
I really think it's important to get my piece out there so I can get some credibility. I'm trying to establish a following, get some credibility. I've written a book, I've done this, I've done that. I was in talk radio for a few years back before Google shut me down. So I'm trying to get, a following, doing the best I can. But, it's the way the world works. But I like your point. It's true. Doesn't this always happen? People, these KKK and BLM and social justice warriors, every time there's an election, they come out and, are hate-filled rage. They're like, oh, well, screw you because you do this and you do that. And people fight in the streets. Everyday thing like that. And I know me and you disagree on Donald. You say he's a sham, but saying, like, for me with Donald, it's not naivete or foolishness. Donald Trump is not some white knight. He's not just going to fix everything, even if he wanted to. But I believe he's real, and I believe he's probably going to get shot. And if he does get shot, then we'll believe he's real. Then it will be, but the problem with that is it'll be too late. He'll be shot. But he'll be a martyr, and I think he'll energize a lot of people.
Maybe for a little while. Maybe. I know if something like that were to happen, it would definitely make me change my view of him. But I just don't see it. I don't think he's on the level.
What would he have to say for you to be like, okay, well, this guy's for real?
Well, it's what he would have to stop saying. More than what he would have to say. He'd have to tone himself back a lot. He's you
don't like the fiery rhetoric,
No, it's way too inflammatory. It's way too pandering to not the best of us, in my opinion. I don't think that's the way a leader is supposed to operate, a good leader.
It would give off vibes of recklessness.
Yeah.
But, I look at it and I say, the way America, the state that we're in, I don't want another teleprompter suit up there. I need somebody who understands that you can't be a dictator, but somebody who's fiery, has got some gusto.
You're right. I wouldn't mind it, but see, I think there's a difference between fire and mania. And I think he exhibits some classic cues towards mania in a lot of what he says.
But is a lot of it hyped up by the media? They say he hates kids because he told a screaming baby to leave the room because it was noisy.
Yeah, but they of course they hype it up. Yeah, they always hype it up. But he gives them plenty of material to hype up. He doesn't.
The media is going to have a field day when he talks about Mexico. They're gonna have. But my thing is, the media hates him. One, two. He's saying stuff that got Kennedy shot. He's talking about the private reserve. He's talking about globalism. And to me, I'm like, well, dang, this is good. Now, if it was all a con artist, if it was all a con plan, the way who Donald is and people that knew him way back who aren't gaining financially from him are saying a lot of good things about him. And this isn't crap. They're just coming up from the election. I've known about Donald before he even thought about running for president. And the guy always did things that were upstanding. I think he's probably going to get shot, but I do believe he's real.
Well, he did some things that are upstanding, and those are the things that he made sure everybody heard about. But he also did a lot of bad stuff, too, that he covered up.
The dirt they're going to put on him is, he didn't deal with the Scots too nicely because he in Scotland, his dealings weren't.
Well, not even that. I'm talking about long before he was ever in this race. The stuff he did with a lot of his businesses was really,
Well, hey,
not.
In the court system, I know what you're talking about on some of that stuff. Like he had to push some people out and get the eminent domain stuff. Are you talking about that?
That to a degree, but not even that. Like just his own workers that he's, those are the backs he makes all of his money off of. And he just treats them like slaves to a degree. He doesn't pay them. He breaks deals. He does a lot of very shady stuff in his business dealing.
How much should he pay him?
Well, whatever they agreed to.
Well,
and they didn't.
If he's not paying them what he agreed to, then where are all the lawsuits?
Oh, he's got thousands of lawsuits against him.
Well,
but he's
now
got ways.
what about Trump University now? What do you think about that lawsuit in particular?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about the lawsuit itself. I know he opened
He's
this.
saying he's accredited. He's saying that they are accredited, and people are just trying to bullcrap him and say he's not.
Yeah, but it's not. Even if it's accredited, I mean, come on, man. If that was a sham, that's not a real thing. Trump University. That's. I mean, people are stupid. The people who did it, you got to be dumb to go to something like that. And pay
Yeah, I
big
mean,
money.
I wouldn't.
It's not exactly a genius maneuver, but
I wouldn't do it. But I'm just saying he wasn't technically breaking rules.
Well, maybe
You know,
not.
I mean,
Yeah, okay, but I'm not into the rules either. I'm into what's right and what's wrong, and that's wrong. He's taking advantage of just people who are too stupid to take care of themselves, which
isn't that what unfettered capitalism is, my friend?
Yeah, and that's why
they're listening.
That's why I don't like it. It's not a good
system. What economic system do you see as being optimal?
Oh boy, I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. We don't have. It's not available to us as a system anymore.
What, a barter system?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah, where things that hold real value.
I have great fear in the federal having a big currency. I think that's a big fear because it always gets under total government control, and they always take the currency and run with it. I even remember back in the day, Caligula, one of the most vile emperors ever. He took a sack of coins, stood up on top of the temple, and dropped them on the ground, and people killed each other for him just for a sack of coins. And he did it as a test. And he said, quote, that he wanted to see the power of nothing. I mean, it's nothingness to me, but
it's make believe.
So absorbed. It's a monopoly game. Now, I agree with you. The American system, for example, the private reserve, it is nothing but a monopoly game, a bunch of paper money that means nothing. But as far as the system, America's not capitalist. I mean, folks, America is crony capitalism where the people move up the ladder, but then they get to make the government laws.
Right.
And then they don't pay tax. That's not capitalism.
It's not true. It's not true capitalism, no.
Exactly. I believe people should be without government interference and without being able to influence the government. Unfortunately, when you have a lot of money, it kind of power and money go hand in hand, and that's unfortunate. But let's just imagine in the perfect world, right? Capitalism at its finest. I love the fact that you go down the road and you see a gas station, right?
Right.
And it's $3.50 a gallon. They're the only gas station in town. One pops up and goes $2.50. Well, the other one's going to be going to $2.49. I love that.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea in theory, just like all these ideas, just like communism is in theory a great idea.
But those didn't work. They always ended.
But neither does this really work.
But capitalism works a heck of a lot better than
I guess. It really.
There's no perfect system because men aren't angels, but it's certainly better than.
That's what I'm saying. There is no system that works except a system that eliminates the imaginary part, the part that doesn't really exist. If we all use the things that are truly valuable to our lives, then it would work a hell of a lot better. We'd all be in a lot better shape, in our lives.
Your ideas about how people should just make their own decisions, and not have all this government stuff. All your ideas are wonderful when it comes to, I believe, in small communities and groups, but in an American-sized population, I think that's too big. That's my problem.
You're right, but do we? What's to say that we need to, form ourselves into this imaginary lined, imaginary bordered thing where we're Americans and they're Canadians and they're Mexicans? Right. Why don't we all just stay in small groups and worry about our small group, and that's it?
It would be, it would be great because that way you could have small communities that would, people would just do the right thing, and if you did something wrong, you deal with the consequences.
That's it. But, natural consequences.
But the problem is, I think history puts people in corners. I mean, as far as America's starting, for example, people were put into a corner and they needed somewhere to go. They needed to have unity to beat a big fish. You can't beat a big fish if you're a bunch of little fishes that aren't connected. Yeah. And that's, unfortunately, it had to be that way. But then it got hijacked. America
at the level I'm talking about, this was long before America, long before even England. It hasn't been the way I'm talking about for a very, very long time. And it'll never go back that way. It just can't. But
not until the nukes go off. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Until we're forced the wrong way. But I know that it can't work that way. I know deep down that it'll never happen. It's just a pipe dream. But that's what would work better.
To me, what's not a pipe dream is humanity beating these globalists. Okay, I really believe it's going to happen. I mean, I'm optimistic about that because, like I've said, when the majority of the public cannot achieve the goals that they have set for themselves, they will respond. They will take action, because you can have law and order all day long. To hell with law and order when it gets bad enough. To hell with lines and rules and gates and fences. To hell with it. When it gets that bad, people don't care whether it's right or wrong or justified.
You're right. You're right. But one thing you said when people can no longer meet the goals that they set for themselves, right? I believe that went out the window a little while back, man. I don't think people have real goals for themselves anymore.
Well,
people don't care because they know better. They realize that if you're depending on what you're born into, really, in this country, depending on what you're born into and what you have at your disposal, your chances are not great, man. You don't have a great chance. That's a lie. The American dream is just that. It's a dream, man. It's a dream. It's a pipe dream. It's not going to really happen unless you know somebody or you have something, or it's more about. For the
most part, yeah, but.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, you're right. But what I was going to take the angle about the goals is people's goals today are mediocrity. They don't want to be great. They don't want to be fulfilled. They want to live. They want to have a few things, but what they want is just stuff, Hollywood stuff. But I still think there's people like, me, I have a lot of goals and things I want to do. I mean, I want to have a radio show. I want to have a talk. I want to have a lot of people listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. I can make change and I want to be fulfilled. I can't go through life every day and just have this mediocre life and just do things just do crap I don't want to do. When I have things that I have skills, I have passions that I want to use in better humanity. And I think that there are people like that. But unfortunately, Hollywood is telling kids today, that it's cool to live in a 200 square foot apartment, and be mediocre and get $5 an hour, and pay 50% in taxes and have government health care. And that is simply not a good way to live. It's not the way anybody wants to be happy. I mean, America, I think, is the most miserable group of people in the world.
Absolutely.
In our mentally, we are so miserable. They're so vain and vile.
It's because we are. It's because on the whole, we are shown what their idea of happiness is, which is completely unobtainable to the normal person. It's completely unobtainable to a regular person unless you're just plain lucky. And that makes for a very easy way for a lot of people to get depressed because they can't handle it. They can't handle the truth that,
exactly. That applies to a lot of things. But what gets me, though, is that people are just so fixated on little things, and in Hollywood. But what makes me mad, though, is they've set it up for you to fail, The system, they've set it up for you to fail. They've set it up for you to sit there and say, well, public education, 2 + 2 = 5. Thanks, Obama, because that's the system we have. They want you to be stupid and dumbed down. They fluorinate the water. They put all the crap in your food in the system. That they tell you, and then the truth. People can't handle it. When I tell people 9/11 was a government system, a government plot, people either laugh or they get so emotional because
they get mad.
Take a minute and breathe and listen to me. They're under mind control. They run around playing Pokemon Go all day. They actually sit there and think that, USA, Bush, we use the army. We're not afraid to use the military. I mean, who, you get a pass? Because there was a war, you get some pass, and now all of a sudden you're some God hero? I had a guy on here.
I had a guy on here the other day legitimately arguing with me, telling me that my argument was that if we really wanted ISIS gone, if ISIS is what they say it is, if we really wanted it gone, we couldn't do it so easily. And that is such a joke. If we wanted ISIS gone, they'd be gone yesterday. They'd be gone yesterday.
Oh,
you were watching it. Okay.
Austin?
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you about that guy. I was listening to you guys, and I made some comments. I always make comments. I hope I don't bug people.
No. It doesn't bother me. It's something else to look at.
Thanks, Matt. Good comment. But anyway, hey, listen though. I really want to build something here. I need a ton of people listening to me because I'm right. But anyway, that kid that you were talking to, his problem was he was so fit. I felt like he was a kid, a naive kid in a history class, you know, who was taking it to heart. Like, he likes history, right? And he's taking it to heart, and he really believes that, oh, you know, terrorists, that's a real threat. And I was writing in the comments, hello, people, 1979, Zbigniew Brzezinski, Osama bin Laden's real name, Tim Osman. He was a CIA asset, okay? We gave him weapons. We still do today. This is the kind of stuff that people don't want to listen to because they don't want to be a tinfoil hat man. Well, they need to put that aside, and they need to get to the facts. You really think that a group of guys with turbans on their head in the mountains are really going to be a threat to a multi-billion-dollar military system? You have lost
it's
your
crazy.
brain if you think
if we went to a full war with one of these places, real, honest war, it would be over in less than a week. It would be instantly over because we would just utterly decimate them. They're not a real country. It's just a bunch of guys. But people like to
live in mud huts.
That's it, man. And it's not even about that. Even a real country, a solid country, would bend under what we've built in the military nowadays because we just spend all of our money on it.
Well, we don't even need to use men. We have decapitator drones that can wipe out a town in 3 seconds. I mean, that's scary. But the thing is, we're living in the Cyberdyne Terminator world. Okay, this is for real. We've got decapitator drones that can be sent to my house like that, and they can take me out if they wanted to like that. And there's nothing I could do. I couldn't even see it coming. And Obama makes jokes about it on TV, saying, "We got decapitator drones. We're gonna come get you." That's right, they will. Because let me tell you, when you go up into that airport and they got the drones flying around watching you, you get there in the line, they go, "Well, you got Al Qaeda in your pants? Let me see what you got there." You know, it's always some dude. Some pedophile dude, you know, in there, in the TSA agents, and then, you know, you got your wife and kid, you know, and they want to grope them and see what they harass old ladies in wheelchairs.
Oh yeah,
at the airport, you know, because they don't want to be targeting racially. Screw that. Okay.
Well, see, the problem with the whole thing is it's just what I was telling the guy the other day. They won't ever really eliminate an enemy because we need to have an enemy. That's what makes them all the money.
Well, war generates huge profits, incredible profits.
Yep. And the only way to keep a war going is to keep your opponent around.
Because you know what the public thinks? The public thinks that, oh, we're in a war, so, you know, they can just take our rights, you know, TSA, checkpoints, police. You know, 9/11, I think 9/11 is still, to me, is the biggest executed plot by the New World Order ever. They've ever pulled off. That was an arrogant and awful thing that they did, but I still think it's the biggest. And now, Boston bombing, I got pretty scared back when they put the whole city under martial law. I thought, well, God, they put the whole city into martial law. They were dragging people out of their house and leaving them in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
They actually did that in American City, and people forget. You know, I know we talk now. I believe that in Boston bombing, people died because I know a lady who was up there and she said the bomb went off and it was nasty. She works at the marathon thing, so I know. But now Sandy Hook, though, we've talked about that. The more I look at it, you know, I used to think, you know, Sandy Hook was a total government op, but I thought that, you know, maybe they killed the kids. But when we've been talking, I've been doing investigations. It could, you know, I don't know. I've been thinking, did anybody even die? It's
hard to say anymore what's real and what's not real because so many things have come out after the fact as fake that it has to cast aspersions on anything they say. So you can't believe anything they say.
Right. Now, in my book, I'm going to cover Sandy Hook big time, a whole chapter devoted to Sandy Hook. And what I want to do is I want to talk about how there was never any blood. The coroner was weird, but there was never any blood. And also the drill that morning. There's always a drill. And the thing that gets me is, how are people this retarded that they don't realize 9/11 there was a drill? Did you know that there was an instant messaging company across the street from the World Trade Center? They were paged, "Don't come to work today," quote unquote. Spoiler, something's going to happen. None of them showed up to work. Just like the 95 Oklahoma City bombing, the entire ATF agency, none of them went to work that day. None of them. They were all told not to come to work. What about Waco, Texas? They used CX gas and killed 70 people. Just lit that place up with no warrant. And you know what Janet Reno does? Janet Reno is like the old Hillary Clinton, right? When she was in those hearings, you know, she was like, they asked her, so you think tanks are a good thing? Cops should have said, yeah, we need tanks. We need to get right in there and roll them over. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know? And that's her attitude. And just like Hillary Clinton, they said, so Hillary, you basically killed 4 Americans to cover up your illegal missile sale deal to Turkey, you know, to Syria, through Turkey to Syria. And she said, what difference does it make? We killed 4 Americans. What difference does it make? She is mentally ill. And the thing is, at all costs, let's say Donald Trump is meaning well, but he can't get much done because they don't like him or whatever. At the very least, we can't let Hillary Clinton win. I mean, even if Donald Trump isn't perfect, if he's okay, then why can't we just push for him to win?
See, that's where I differ. I don't see any difference between the two of them. I think they're both equally garbage, as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way I see it. I don't see. There's no way of ever knowing because one's gonna win, maybe, or. There is another crazy theory I've been hearing get tossed around lately. It's kind of scary. It's a little bit of a scary thought that he's actually considering waiting until the last minute and then dropping out. And yeah, that's Trump? A theory that's been getting tossed around. I don't buy it either, but you know what? If you think about it, man, that would really throw a big monkey wrench in the whole thing because then it wouldn't really be a true election. And then at that point, what happens? How do you tell Obama to leave office under those conditions? The country would be totally thrown into like a crazy state, if something like that happened.
But is anybody going to respect, if Hillary Clinton wins the election, is anybody going to respect it? I mean, she's universally hated, other than her small sects that like her.
Well, she can't be universally hated because the poll numbers are showing they're about even.
Oh, come on. Those polls, they always poll like 900. They poll 900 Democrats and 100 Republicans.
I don't think so. I think you're going to see on that day. I think he's going to win, but it's not going to be by some crazy landslide number.
I think it's now. See, that's where we disagree. I think it's going to be a landslide. Now, I'm not talking like 70-30, but I mean, there's going to be. People hate Clinton. I think they're lying about how much the Bernie people, they hate Hillary. Either they're not going to vote, they're going to stay home, and they're voting Trump. I know Bernie people are voting Trump. I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference between them. And I don't know. I find it hard to believe that. I don't know. I can't get wrapped up in it because I don't see either one of them as a real legitimate answer to any issues that will personally affect me. They're not gonna weigh in on those issues, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Do you think Gary Johnson's going to get
on stage? I think he'll get on stage. I think he actually will. But that's about it. I think he'll get on stage because I think people are, into him right now. He's kind of got like a little cult following going. And I think people will listen to him a little bit. They'll like it.
Do you think he's real?
I doubt it. I find it hard to believe. I doubt it.
And we both of us, we all need to question everything, but you are a lot more skeptical than me. I mean, I question everybody. I question Trump every day. But
as soon as you put yourself out there and say that you want the job, that automatically makes me think, well, why? What are you doing? What's going on with you? What are you into? What are you involved with? Because, a normal.
Seems we have lost our friend. He might come back in a minute. I don't know if anybody else can hear me, but, Donald Trump for the win, right? But anyway, one of these days, man, I'm telling you, I need like 100,000 people to watch me like every day because I'm right. So, yeah. We'll wait for him to come back. You know what? That's why you guys need to get a good internet like Windstream because Windstream's legit. But, Okay, this is weird. I really hope. Okay, well, I guess we're back now because the hearts are flowing again. The hearts are flowing. Yeah, Donald for the win. I'm telling you. I'm behind him because I think he's going to get shot eventually. Unfortunately, I think he probably will be. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay, I think Caruso disappeared. Okay, well, people can see me. Well, you know what? Listen, I want to give a personal message to everybody out there listening right now. Okay, what I want to say is this. Okay, humanity can win. Okay, we can do this. All right, I want to see us go beyond the stars, beyond Mars. We can get this done. But what it's going to take is it's going to take people at home to get up and say, you know what? I can't be passive. I've got to get out there and say, you know what? The system. Okay, well, I was giving my little dramatic speech, but I think he's back.
Hey, what's up? I'm back.
All right. You missed it. I was giving a dramatic speech.
I got a phone call. So I got cut out.
But Gary Johnson, I don't know. I like the fact that he says he's fiscally conservative, but he's liberal and social, things like that. But what about Jill Stein? What do you think about Jill Stein?
I honestly, I have no idea.
I'm wary
about her. I
don't
know nothing about her. I just heard her name pop up like 2 weeks ago, and I have no idea.
Yeah, the Green Party not gonna pull. The Nazi Party has a candidate every year for president. And I'm not even going to crazy hippie party. That's funny, man. But I'm not going to mention that person's name because I'm not going to do it. But because there's no point in it. There's no point even thinking about it. But anyway,
it's beyond ridiculous.
I mean, I don't care if they do it. That's free speech. If you're
whatever. I mean,
that's free speech. But I'm not gonna entertain the idea that we're gonna be hateful towards somebody because they don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's not appropriate. But the communist has their party guy every year. But the thing is, there's no perfect system. That we know this. But I really believe though having a unfettered free market, a system where people can live and be. But unfortunately, like you said, we can't go back to bartering. It's too late. We are in a system now where everything is set up with money and all this. I honestly believe we could fix if we audited the Fed. There's a pipe dream there, but let's pretend that happened. And you know what I would love? I would love for America, if we're going to have lines and we're going to have a country, what if the states had control of their money supply per se, but it was all the same. It wasn't like state currencies. It was one currency, but the states would make sure that they had big control on not printing too much and not inflation. And they got the state legislature got a huge say in in the national budget. It wasn't just the feds getting to come up with some garbage budget.
It would be a good idea, but I think the only way to really fix it is not just to audit the Fed. You have to get rid of it completely. It has to be gone. And it has to change. We have to change the money entirely. We can't use dollars anymore. We have to come up with a new system.
Well, if we'd have to do. Well, the dollar is so devalued; it's a joke. We'd have to disband it and move on. But it's all because they printed money on purpose that they didn't have. Fractional reserve banking, quantitative easing. They do this every time. And just like FDR, what did he do after the Depression? Took all the money, took all the gold in, devalued the currency. That's basic economics they do to us every time. Now, what do you think about the Electoral College? I personally believe get rid of that crap, and we need to have a system where the states county by county votes, but then each state pools. I would love to see a majority in the state.
It's total nonsense. No, why don't we just count all the votes? Period. And whoever gets the most votes wins. It's pretty simple.
Right.
All together. It doesn't matter what state you live in. It doesn't matter where you are. We voted. Whoever got the most votes wins.
And that idea, it's the problem I have with that is I'm not a fan of straight up direct democracy. And the reason I'm not a fan of it is because if 9 out of 10 people in a room say you should be killed, does that make it right?
No, but
it worries me. I want to have people voting. I don't like the Electoral College, but I'm very afraid of having just someone like Napoleon. He took advantage of direct democracy, gave a fiery speech, and then just screwed up the whole country. So I'm worried that we could go from dictatorship to dictatorship. We're going to be like Venezuela. I'm worried.
Well, we don't have a direct democracy. We'll never have a direct democracy. It's too close to the people having a real say. So we won't have that.
I'm just saying, get rid of the Electoral College and base it off of popular vote, but not.
That would be a start. I mean, we don't even need the figurehead to begin with. We don't have to vote in this figurehead guy. Why don't we just vote on each individual issue every time it comes around? When an issue comes up, we vote.
Well,
simple.
But I like having some structure to get things done that's checked and balanced. I want big checks and balances. I would love for the Supreme Court to check and balance, but I would also love the executive to be able to have power, and the Congress should have a lot of check and balances on the Supreme Court and the executive, and then the states. The states must have. I mean, I want it to be easy where everyday citizen can file an injunction on somebody in Congress and say, you know what, hey, this person's wrong. We're going to remove them from office. Can we just have a system where the state legislatures can kick somebody out of Congress?
But on that really level, you'll have people doing that every day. We'll never have anybody settled in.
It's their right. It's like free speech. People free speech every day, but that's
I think
fine.
A better privilege to have would just be to vote personally on an issue rather than to elect somebody else to vote on the issue for me. That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm just worried about fleeting passions. The founding fathers were very wary of that, and I look to them a lot. I really look to the founders a lot. So I worry. But I want some things to be direct. They should be. But the problem is there are issues as well with the representative system, because you vote somebody in. Are they trustee? The phrase, are they trustee, or are they what's the other word? Like you trust them, like trust me, or are they going to do what you want, or you just got to trust them to, and of course Congress is corrupt and it's full of, a bunch of nonsense. But I think that it's good to have some different levels. I mean, a federal system, when it's done right, there's just so many checks and balances. I think that it can work. But the problem is it's just been corrupted by multinational corporations, and they've hijacked it. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many issues with what we have going on right now. It's impossible to even begin to wrap your head around how to fix it. It goes.
I like to think that I've got some magic plan, personally, that I could do it. But I mean, I can't. No. There's nothing I can. But what I could do though is what I know I can do is this. I can wake people up.
That's the best thing. That's the only thing you could really do is just try to raise awareness, make people think a little bit, and that's about it. Because in reality, it's so set, it's so ingrained. They have us locked down, and it's it's going to be tough to change the system.
One thing though about America that I like is we are the only country that the people have always, from the start of the country to now, they've always had the guns. They've always had the majority of the firepower. I think that's what's preserved us from going total enslavement crap. At least we can have some things. At least we can. I mean, I think that guns matter because, sure, we're in a system where we're controlled and they tax us, and they figure, they got smart. You don't put your people in chains. You give them what they want, but you still have all the money. I mean, who cares if the everyday person has a little happiness? If they've got all the money and the power, they don't give a damn. But the problem is the people at the very top, some of them are control freaks. They want us in chains. They don't like America because we can still, you can have a family, you can make money, you can buy something nice, you can have a gun. They don't like that. They fear that because that is power. That is dangerous to the system because, like I say, America, the way the whole world works is a chessboard, right? It's a chessboard. The people at the very top, they have their own interests, but if something threatens one of them, they all come together in the threat. And that's why if enough of us fought back, and unfortunately it's going to take, I don't want violence. I don't like violence, but if it's going to take it, I mean, I'm all for stuff. If someone comes and attacks you, I'll knock their teeth out, but if we have to, then we're going to respond with guns if we have to. But we have weapons today, nukes today, that could end it all. I mean, we can't fight that. I can't fight a nuke. I'm sorry, folks. I can't fight a nuclear missile. So you've got to count on somebody else on that one. I'm not Superman. I'm close, but
I don't know. It's just it's kind of I don't know. I don't want to say it's a lost cause. It's just it's a huge mountain to tackle.
But I'm willing to do it.
We're in so deep. I don't know. I just wish more people realized what was going on. If more people realized what was going on, we'd have a better chance at actually changing something.
But you know what gets me, though, is the easiest thing. EcoScience by the White House Science Czar says they put fluoride in the water to dumb you down. How? I mean, I just show people this stuff. Will they just give me a minute and just look at it?
They don't want to, man. They don't want to.
They can't handle the truth. No. They really can't. And it frustrates me so much. They just won't handle. And one of the hardest things that anybody I've talked to, that one thing they can't handle is they can't handle the Rockefellers playing with the RFID chip. They want everybody chipped. They want everybody tracked. When I get to that point, that's when even people that are kind of on board, they can't handle it, because they know that when they get chipped and their whole life gets ruined, they can't fathom that. They just struggle with it. But you have to embrace it. I get it. It's all screwed up. But if you embrace it and say, this is what the hand I've been dealt, right? We have been dealt a hand of a technocracy, a total takeover, but we can still play our cards right, and we have a chance. I mean, we're not on this earth very long. We might as well do what we can to help humanity for the next generation.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be a nice thought, but I don't know. I have a hard time seeing enough people come together to change anything. We can't come together on anything.
Well, there is a lot of division, but I would, like I say, I think it's good to have disagreements, and people should discuss and talk about all kinds of things. But one thing's for sure, if humanity's compass was pointed in the same direction as far as personal liberties and freedoms, at that point, my friend, we can have success if we are just pointed at an angle of true personal liberty. And, who's it going to be? Is it going to be me? Am I this white knight that's going to bring the world together? Maybe. Doubt it. But I have to believe it. If I don't believe that I can do something, then what am I even doing? Why even bother if I don't believe I'm for real?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. All right, man. I'm heading out actually right now, so I got to go, but I will talk to you again later.
All right. You have a good one.
You too.